Ridgewood High was built in the early 1900s, nestled in a quiet rural town. It was a symbol of hope and progress for the community, but beneath its pristine exterior, a dark secret lurked. The school was constructed on land that once belonged to an old orphanage, which mysteriously burned down in the late 1800s. The tragedy claimed the lives of many children, whose souls were never at peace. As the school grew, strange occurrences began to happen. Faint whispers in empty rooms, flickering lights, and the unmistakable feeling of being watched. It was in the late 1960s when the first recorded incident of the paranormal occurred. A young girl named Emily, who was always the last to leave the classroom, reported seeing a shadowy figure standing at the end of the hallway. She described it as a tall, dark silhouette with no distinguishable features, yet its presence filled her with an overwhelming sense of dread. The figure would disappear whenever she tried to approach it, leaving only a cold breeze in its wake. Emily's story was dismissed as childish imagination, but soon, others began to experience similar encounters. A few years later, the school was rocked by the mysterious disappearance of a teacher, Mrs. Holloway. She was last seen working late in her classroom, grading papers, when a janitor noticed her lights still on past midnight. Concerned, he went to check on her but found the room empty. Mrs. Holloway's belongings were left untouched, and her car was still parked outside, but she was nowhere to be found. The only clue was a chilling message scrawled on the blackboard: "You can't escape the past." Despite extensive searches, Mrs. Holloway was never seen or heard from again. As the stories of strange occurrences grew, an old town legend resurfaced: the curse of the orphanage. It was said that the children who perished in the fire were never laid to rest, and that their spirits wandered the earth, seeking revenge on anyone who disturbed their final resting place. The land where Ridgewood High stood was believed to be cursed, and those who ignored the warnings paid the price. Students and teachers alike began to experience terrifying visions, hearing the cries of children in the dead of night and seeing ghostly apparitions that would vanish as quickly as they appeared. Desperate to rid the school of its haunting, the principal, Mr. Davies, sought the help of a local priest. Together they planned a ritual to cleanse the school and lay the spirits to rest. The ritual was to take place on the anniversary of the orphanage fire, in the exact spot where the tragedy occurred. As they prepared, the school was plunged into chaos. Windows shattered, lights flickered uncontrollably, and a deafening wail echoed through the halls. Despite the terror, the priest began the ritual, chanting prayers and sprinkling holy water. But the spirit's anger only seemed to intensify. The night of the ritual was one that those present would never forget. As the priest continued his prayers, the temperature in the room dropped dramatically, and a thick, unnatural fog filled the air. The shadowy figure once seen by Emily appeared once more, this time accompanied by the ghostly forms of the orphaned children. Their eyes glowed with an eerie light as they moved toward the priest and principal, their mouths open in silent screams. Just as all hope seemed lost, the priest raised his crucifix, and a blinding light filled the room, banishing the spirits back to the darkness. The ritual, though terrifying, seemed to have worked. The strange occurrences at Ridgewood High ceased and the school slowly returned to normal. However, the events of that night left a lasting impact on those who witnessed it. Mr. Davies retired shortly after, haunted by the memories of what he had seen, and the priest, though successful in his mission, never spoke of the incident again. The school continued to operate for a few more years, but the stories of its haunted past lingered. Eventually, due to declining enrollment, Ridgewood High was closed, and the building was left to decay. Even though the school was abandoned, the haunting did not end. Urban explorers and thrill seekers who ventured into the decaying building reported hearing the same whispers and seeing the same shadowy figure that had terrorized the school for decades. Some even claimed to have seen the ghostly children, their eyes glowing in the darkness as they wandered the empty halls. Ridgewood High became a local legend, a place of fear and fascination, where the past never truly dies. And so, the story of Ridgewood High lives on, a chilling reminder that some spirits can never be laid to rest. And that, my friends, is the terrifying tale of Ridgewood High, a school where the past refused to be forgotten and the spirits of the lost demanded justice. It's a story that reminds us that some places are forever marked by the tragedies that occurred within their walls. If you ever find yourself near the old Ridgewood High, remember this story and think twice before stepping inside. You never know what or who might be waiting in the shadows. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more spine-chilling tales.